Fire, 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 fire. Okay, chat. Would you win 100 men versus 100 smuggler versus 1 gorilla? I think you guys could beat him. You go for the ankles as a green rat with a yellow shirt. I think you guys could win 100%.
100 men versus 1 gorilla is just the newest online debate brought to you by people that have way too much time on their hands. And I'm no better, because here I am making a video about it. Because it's quickly gone from silly Twitter talk to what has to be a massive joke that I'm not in on. What's clear is one side is getting drastically overrated, while people obviously aren't taking the other side seriously.
True.
Plus, I love animals and arguments, so if you're looking for a video to eat your lunch with, or to be the soundtrack of your commute home, I'm going to break down the question you probably didn't care about in the first place, and by the end, you'll wonder how this—
I don't know, man. I've seen enough gorilla videos where they just look like tanks. I feel like people think, oh yeah, 100 men? Yeah, easily. It's like, yeah, and then he rips you in half and just, I guess not laughs in your face, but just rips you in half, and then everyone else is like, oh, damn. I don't think this is a good idea.
was ever even a question. So here's the full truth of whether 100 unarmed men could beat 1 prime silverback gorilla. But first, we gotta understand what force of nature we're up against. Now, I do have a couple recent videos on gorillas, so to not repeat myself too much, I do advise that you check those out for further context. But basically, everything we thought about gorillas back in the day was wrong. They're giant, non-violent, fart-happy pacifists, and the most dangerous thing about—
So like me, for real, for real.
About them is they can misunderstand regular human actions as an act of war. So while yeah, if you smile at a silverback enough times, he eventually will put beats on you like a Cherokee drum, most times a gorilla is just worried about the 6,000 calories he eats a day. And thank the stars for that.
Damn.
Gorillas are built like the developer had something to prove. They took the human model and said,
Holy, look at the size of their fucking pelvis. Oh my god!
Resize. The result is an alpha ape with a stronger bite force than a grizzly, allegedly, hands that can crush a crocodile's skull, allegedly, and just strength that we really have no way to truly comprehend. That man fully didn't plan to get casually—
I've seen this before. I think I was with my parents. I think I showed this to my mom or my dad. And I asked my mom or my dad, I think it was my dad actually, I said, Dad, what would happen if, like, you know, he grabbed you by the ankle and started dragging you? My dad said, nothing, I would just accept my fate. Like, I'd just be like, alright, okay, yeah, if you want to kill me, that's cool, man, I'm not gonna fight it.
Ragdoll, but plans are always subject to change when you're around the prime.
This guy just shat his pants, I swear.
Ape. Gorillas might default to peace, but life is multiple choice. The question is, what kind of carnage comes when they choose violence? It's hard to imagine what a fully malice-motivated gorilla can do because it takes a lot for them to get to that point. The first phase of conflict involves using body language and gestures to send a message before hands even have to be thrown. Because for an animal that can spend over 12 hours a day eating, wasting calories on fights is poor resource management. The second phase of escalation usually involves pushing, grappling, and screaming.
Is that real?
Of escalation usually—
How do you not just faint on the spot as a dude just standing there? How do you just not, like, be like, I'm dead now?
Involves pushing, grappling, and screaming in really short bursts. Gorillas fight the way they fuck. What I mean is, the phase they run are like how they're hung. Not long at all. Because again, most times, gorillas don't actually want to fight. But what about when they do?
That's a female too, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be phase 3. That usually happens when 2 silverbacks throw down for control of a group. Losing such would mean losing the 3 F's: food, family, and the FCC won't let me finish. But stakes can make these fights to the death, and here's—
No, you could have said females. Yeah, females.
Where we can see what gorillas are truly capable of. I found a research paper that detailed the injuries sustained in gorilla-on-gorilla fights, and based on that, you see a pattern. Those teeth are for more than just undressing trees, and losers are often found with lacerations and puncture wounds all over the body. And unlike a leopard, which leaves small puncture wounds, the canines of a gorilla cause large gaping tears in victims. Even if the gorilla's bite strength has been exaggerated, which we will get into, even lowballing them puts them at the level of a hyena. One gorilla named Inshuti had his foot completely crushed with the tips of his fingers and ear bitten off. Gorillas also use their arms, not really to punch but to use as battering rams, and they've also been known
That's
to pull chunks of
sick.
hair out with their hands. So safe to say, a gorilla's stiff arm to the back would
Donkey Kong ain't freaking around, dude.
crack your constitution like a glow stick and could dislocate or break human bones by accident. And with many victims
Look at him fucking tackle that one.
also recorded with bite wounds to the face, you'd probably be able to unlock your iPhone from 20 feet away after a gorilla puts jaws on you. So what chance would an army of humans have against a 500-pound berserker?
I'm not convinced,
Well, hot
Chad.
take. Gorillas have been drastically overrated in many ways. First, as fighters. Gorillas aren't efficient fighters. They're more physical brawlers and grapplers, and with everything I've said, most fights last anywhere from a couple seconds to 1 to 2 minutes at the most.
So they don't have any endurance. Fuck. What if you made like a really strong, powerful gorilla? Like you hybridized him.
Also, as strong as gorillas are, their strength has been overrated. There are some animals that just get more and more OP the more people talk about them. Chimps have been said to have the strength of 8 men when really it's closer to 1.5. It's just that they're stronger in all the ways that can kill you. And grizzly bears are already big enough, but then you got people claiming they could decapitate a full-grown moose with one swipe. Now, what
That's not true. I don't think they can. I've never heard of that before. Man, yeah, I think they could, but moose are kind of tanks, Loki.
idiot would say that? And this debate has people swearing a gorilla would rip a whole man in half like a phone book with nary a sweat. I knew the gorilla propaganda peaked when this was an actual debate. Doctor Strange can conjure up 14 million realities. You won't find one where a plus-size protein-packing primate can do anything to a full-strength grizzly bear taking him seriously. Especially since there's a much smaller predator known to give gorillas
And
problems.
also they have massive claws as well. Like, gorillas don't have claws. One swipe and that fucking gorilla's like, oh shit, oh that hurt, oh I'm sorry.
Gorillas have been documented getting preyed on by African leopards. Even with jungle leopards being bulkier due to less competition,
Leopard!
that's still an at most 180-pound cat past tensing Optimus Prime. Now let me be fair, these are rare and leopards usually go for hoofed animals, wild pigs, and monkeys. Gorillas are actually too
Holy!
big and too social to be a regular on the grocery list, so it sounds like my whole point is trash. But that same paper listing gorilla on gorilla violence also showed the aftermath of leopard attacks. In those reports, all leopard victims took bite wounds to the head and most of the arms, with lacerations localized about the neck and claw marks on the trunk. So even though it is rare and a one-on-one between a silverback and a leopard might murk both, if a gorilla can struggle with less than 200 pounds of predator, a 900-pound Duratio would give Harambe a bunkmate. Also, against 100 men, there are some very real issues that could be game over for the gorilla. The big one is endurance. Gorillas are dangerously close to being hot girl fit. They're best using
Hot girl fit. I would have never thought that describing a gorilla was hot girl fit. No, like that's actually accurate. They're all muscle and like they don't have endurance, they don't have cardio.
explosive bursts of energy,
That
not
makes
sustained
sense.
strain over a long period of time, and a fight against 100 humans would likely last hours. Which is really bad considering compared to us, gorillas have poor temperature control. Gorillas don't have as many sweat glands as humans, and if we're talking about mountain gorillas, the thick fur would make it a 1-on-1 versus 1. The men, and the risk of heat stroke. That is if the ape doesn't just have a heart attack. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in gorillas in zoos, and 70% of male gorillas in zoos suffer from heart disease that
Oh,
will
they're American. Oh.
past tense them prematurely. Now that might just apply to zoo gorillas, but it's still a factor. Another is
Just
the very
like
temperament of
Amerifats,
the gorilla is
yeah.
highly non-confrontational. They're more likely to run away than
Scared of a Canadian goose, man. Canadians BTFO.
run a fade. But most importantly, the brawling, grappling build is not a good combat style against multiple enemies. We know that cause there's another African predator that's been giving gorillas hell, and you may not have even realized it. And it's weird because for a while, gorillas and chimpanzees seem like they were on good terms. They've been recorded foraging together, and they'll even have their version of primate playdates. That all changed when the chimps started chimping. A couple years ago in Luongo National Park, scientists witnessed a gang of 18 chimps jump a gorilla family of 5. That's 3 females, 1 baby, and a silverback. The turf war lasted an hour, and even with the silverback apparently testing ragdoll physics, throwing chimps in the air, and even managing to injure 3. Eventually, he was surrounded and chased off by 9 chimps. The adults got away, but the chimps managed to snatch the baby gorilla of the group,
No,
which
no
was promptly
baby.
eaten. The second
Oh,
attack involved 27 chimpanzees and 7 gorillas, and this time, the silverback made a business decision and immediately climbed out of the trees and fled the scene. Yes, comparing chimps to humans is comparing durians to jackfruit. The moral here is the one gorilla can not only be overwhelmed, but neutralized by numbers.
Wow.
Because if there's one thing that's being dangerously underrated, it's the power of friendship. Don't laugh, I'm serious. If you remember this picture, then you know this was the 100 men, 1 gorilla.
I told you, man, 10,000 smugglers versus 5 gorillas. You guys go for the ankles, nibble their ankles, and just destroy them, and then you can just eat them. They can't fight back. What are they gonna do? Like swipe at you? They can't even run.
Gorilla of 2018. It's
Look,
pretty
smugglers are
self-explanatory.
right here.
Everything here is coming for your life except the 2 you pick to run defense for you. And I'm just gonna kill the suspense. If one of those
eat the
picks
balls,
isn't the 10,000
exactly.
rats, you have no idea how big 10,000 is. Add eagles for aerial support and the rest of the field would have over 200 rats to deal with each. And it's cause the power of plurality is one of the most broken strategies in nature. Mobbing.
That's why the Black Plague was so powerful. All the smugglers just transporting Black Plague everywhere.
Refers to an anti-predator behavior where prey animals approach, harass, and sometimes attack their own predator. It's how one animal can shift an almost impossible matchup in their favor. One hyena to a lion is a chew toy. Add 20 and it's a life lesson.
Yeah.
Pilot whales have been on record chasing orcas out of high competition areas and even actively following the sounds of orca hunts. There's
Oh
plenty
my
of
God.
examples of weaponized unity in nature, but probably
There's
my favorite case of
baboons.
what's a king to a mob happens off the coast of South Africa, where fur seals have to risk their spot on the census every time they check the fridge. Cause the seals can't go out for groceries without the chance of running into the biggest predatory fish on
Sharks.
Earth. Every year, great white sharks will gather around fur seal nurseries and snatch any inexperienced pups. The problem is so many sharks show up that a seal can dodge one great white right into the jaws of another.
one.
You've seen this
yeah.
movie before, but there's an alternate ending. Scientists have recorded fur seals squatting up into one giant group and using their numbers to turn on the sharks
And
closing
bully
in.
them
And as the mob gets
back.
bigger, the seal force gets more confident, leading to them escorting the 20-foot assault submarines back out to sea. So with all this, now it doesn't seem like a stretch to favor 100 men over just one gorilla.
Yeah, maybe.
You could argue that the
I still think the psychological effects of seeing a guy getting their like arm ripped off or something by a gorilla would be very, very traumatizing. Perfect opportunity for unban request. If they want to be unbanned, they must participate in the fight against the gorilla if they survive the unban. No, 1,000 smugglers and then they have to fight them all off. That'd be
CEOs
more
and the other mob
appropriate.
merchants aren't actually getting physical with their final boss. That's true. Everyone's asking if 100 men could off a gorilla. No one's asking how. Well, that's why I'm here. But first, obligatory, don't try this on a gorilla, or at least don't blame me for the consequences if you do. In a fight against a simian weighing a shack and a half, it's all about attacking the weak points, and a gorilla's weak points are the same as ours. Eyes, throat, mouth, and for measure, the jewels of the south. It's all about delivering damage that actually matters, and to do that, someone would have to perform the Draymond Green special, and go for the eyes and blind him.
Oh,
Someone else would have
no.
to suffocate the supersized simian, either by bear hugging his
Try
windpipe,
it,
which only
bitch.
Tarzan backpacking plot armor can do, or by shoving your entire arm down his throat. And since you're already negotiating your arm elbow deep in esophagus, you'd also have to pull the gorilla's tongue out. I call that the leopard method, because a 73-year-old once soloed an attacking leopard by reaching into its mouth and ripping out the leopard's liquor. And
That's so metal. Holy. That is actually the most metal thing I've ever heard in my life. A 73-year-old grabbed a leopard's tongue, ripped it out, probably lost his arm, if I had to guess, because he's like, you know, trying to fight an animal that's chewing him. That's metal!
speaking of grab and pull, someone would have to be elected to perform Draymond's final smash and go for the gorilla's unmentionables. Hey, don't judge. This is
They
war.
nuts.
The rest would have to use their combined strength to pin the primate down, with the remainder delivering kicks to the gorilla's flank, the most powerful natural attack to the gorilla's most vulnerable area. That would probably be the best way to chip away at a gorilla. One problem though, this is still a gorilla we're talking about. Even with everything I said about their strength being overrated, a gorilla fighting for its life would show you destruction like you've never
Yeah.
seen. It doesn't matter how many men, the method, or the facet, for those first few, their only outcome is a closed casket. Even if numbers eventually win, those first dozen or so men would be horrifically maimed, mutilated, or straight up murked.
That's what I'm saying. People are like, oh, well, if you could run, the gorilla's gonna run away. It's like, what if it's in an enclosed space? Like, that's the point. We're putting it in an enclosed space. The gorilla can't run. It can get cornered. It'll freak the fuck out. I feel like its adrenaline would kick in more than the human beings that's trying to corner them or something.
You can argue that if I can mention that 100 men running over the hill would intimidate even a gorilla, witnessing men getting mauled and disfigured would inflict psychological damage. There's an argument that witnessing the sheer carnage would weaken the resolve of the others, destabilizing the army. And you have to remember, if mobbing is natural, doing so in a way that guarantees a portion of your team sees Tupac live isn't. Even animals like hyenas will fall back if they sense they don't have enough of an advantage in a clan fight. But there's a catch. The tweet that started all this said, "Dedicated to that shit. Surely if men can watch bunkmates get blown to bits in a war, then you can find 100 willing to die by the gorilla."
Yeah, at least probably out of 100, probably 20 would die. Like 100%.
They can withstand
Crazy
the visceral
enough.
reaction of seeing jaws getting detached, limbs getting dislocated, and a field of open fractures. 100 men would definitely beat a gorilla.
100 smugglers, man, I'm telling
we
you.
have strayed so far from the halo of Harambe. Yeah, this is the part where I do the annoying thing and turn a tweet made by someone who definitely wouldn't pass a P-test into a lecture. But like I said in the other video, gorillas have already been getting the middle finger from humanity, either in the wild or in zoos. Whether it's trophy hunting or bushmeat, habitat loss, or an unsupervised minor, humans have the highest KD ratio against our green machine cousins. Because a gorilla has never been on record life-depriving a person, even when they may have had a reason. Yet the mountain gorilla is nearly in bed with extinction mostly because of humans. But not all humans. Some dedicate their entire lives to the welfare of this giga ape, which is why I will be donating to Virunga National Park. Not only do they treat and protect the gorillas there as family, they often have to risk their lives regularly going against poachers. That and the fact that I made a video detailing how to murk an endangered species makes my soul itch, so link down below if you'd like to donate as well. I'm not kidding when I say they're family. This man was seen comforting one of his young gorillas after his mother died. And fun fact, Virunga National is where we got this gem. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video.
I've seen that photo before.
That nobody should take seriously. Nah, but I think I'm gonna start doing the animal versus animal face-off videos again, so let me know what animal matchup you'd like to see me yap about. There's one I've been wanting to get into for a while. Friendly reminder that I have a book, 100 Animals That'll Bleeping End You. I'd say more, but the name's no marketing. Also, I have a Patreon, but reminder that your money's probably just gonna buy me lunch, so don't spend a check unless you've always wanted to indirectly feed me Wendy's. Or you might just fund my next trip. I mean, all this talk about gorillas, who knows? Maybe I'll go see one. Oh shit. But yeah, drink water, hug your mother. Please don't gang up on a gorilla. They've been through enough. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
Chat, hypothetically, I think that 100 smugglers could. I think it would be easy. Why? Oh my god. You need to get a grip. God damn it. Anyway, Jesus. Okay, chat, go check them out. Casual Geographic. We haven't watched them in a while, bro. We have not watched them in a while. He is also donating to Virunga National Park to little gorillas. Those baby gorillas look really cute. Almost as cute as chat.